I love your question. And I'm going to answer it this way. So when I first started on my deconstructing journey, I was so confused and felt so alone. And I was so scared. Because who was I if I wasn't what religion said I was? And what did I believe if I didn't believe what religion told me to believe? And if you had told me that in my deconstructing journey, I would not only leave church permanently, but that I would release this anthropomorphized, patriarchal, masculine, vengeful yet loving God who permeated into my life and influenced it, and certainly had implications on how I was to submit to male authority in my life, silently and obediently, just as I was to in church. That I would reject all that, and not only reject it, I would heal from it. I think that would have terrified me to the point where I would have just tucked my tail and went back into church, because I could not have fathomed what that would have looked like. And I can unequivocally say that to be able to stand here in this moment and say that the best thing that happened to me was releasing that and healing from it, but also reclaiming my spirituality. Because the places where we got it wrong, and I believe religion gets it wrong, because in its purest form, religion should be something that helps nurture our spirituality and encourage an individual experience that allows for unique expression and understanding. But it becomes something that we are to contort ourselves to become obedient to perpetuate the institution. So in its purest form, religion does serve that. But unfortunately, what's happened with so many of us, which is why we're deconstructing, is that didn't happen. So by reclaiming that, then I in turn took back what was mine in the first place. And so instead of being spoon-fed from the pulpit on what I was to believe and who I was to judge, and these feelings of being morally or spiritually superior than other people who didn't look like, love like, or believe like I did, I took it back and I said, who am I? And how do I want my spirituality to be reflected in how I show up in the world? Because that to me is more of an authentic, loving expression of who I am. So one of the first things that I released from that is saying that I no longer need to have permission about how I connect to the divine. Because I lost that definition that religion had given me, and I wanted to understand through a more global experience of how other people understand and experience who or what God is. So not only did my language change, my understanding changed. And one of the first things I did was create this kind of code of ethics that said I will never look at somebody and gatekeep their experience, because that was almost a tenet of my faith for so long. I had a friend one time tell me that I invited them to church and they said, sorry, Karla, I love you, but I don't want anything to do with your exclusive Christian club. And that toppled me, because I had never seen through another's eyes what my faith looked like until she said that. And I can point to those moments and know that they certainly impacted the beginning of my deconstructing. But for you, dear one, I hope that you see through these words in my story that you don't need anybody's permission. Spirituality was never supposed to be contingent upon religion's approval. So how you experience this God source, this divine source, this all universal love is up to you. So continue to do the work of your deconstructing and see where it takes you, because everyone goes to a different place. And some, the deconstructing journey becomes their spiritual practice, and that's okay too, because it creates this commitment that you're going to continue to learn and stay authentic and curious and open and not static in your faith and planted in a rigid dogma that creates this mindset that only your way is the right way and excludes all of the entirety of humanity. You see, I believe that in this moment in time, we still lack the words and the ability, the capacity to truly understand this divine source and to create words around it, to create definition around it. Throughout time, people have been telling that story from the context of their limited understanding, and we just continue to expand upon it, but we still fall way short of understanding what it is. So I hope this helps, but just know this: you don't need my permission, and you don't need anybody else's, and anybody who tells you otherwise is just stuck in that rigid dogma, and you don't need to be associated with them anyway. So continue to deconstruct. I hope this helps.